On this week's show, we meet Lisa Mora, the person behind Vintage Trailer Magazine, and we'll show you how she travels the country in her not-so-quite stock Hudson Hornet, while towing Rosie, her classic vintage trailer. Also, Jeff Johnston shows us how easy it is to get ourselves in a dangerous situation if we're not careful around an RV gas stove. Then later, Mark and Dawn Polk from RV Education 101 show us some common towing mistakes made by RVers. These stories and more, plus our Thetford Titan contest on this week's episode of Rollin On TV. Rollin On TV is brought to you by Carefree of Colorado, celebrating 45 years of RV awning innovation. Closed and Spanish captioning, where available, is sponsored by Jayco. At Jayco, we've been making family dreams come true since 1968.
I'm Lisa from Vintage Trailer Magazine, and I'm really looking forward to telling you all about the world of vintage RVing.
Lisa Mora has taken vintage RVing to a whole new level. She not only owns and camps in a vintage trailer, she tows it with a classic Hudson car, and she originated and publishes Vintage Trailer Magazine. That is a lot of commitment.
I think the appeal of vintage trailers is along the lines of the appeal of everything from when we were younger. The nostalgia that people have for things from a time that they remember as being a happy time of their life often is something that they're drawn to again later in life, when we're reminiscing about the happy times we had as a kid when we went camping with our mums and dads and our family members. And I think that's why we get drawn to older things like the kind of camper that we stayed in when we were traveling. And the kind of car that we used to drive when we were, a teenager, or the first car we learnt to drive in. And generally, I think that's what the appeal of all this vintage scene really is. Well, I've always been into old cars and hot rods and rockabilly scene, and I started going to a lot of car shows, and I noticed that there were vintage trailers up the back of all these car shows, and I thought that was really cool. I was like, I want to do something like that. So I had lived in a trailer park for a while when my marriage had split up, and I owned a little trailer myself, and I decorated it all up and made it really homely, and I remembered that as a really happy time for me. So that was where I got into it. I just wanted to recreate that and to be able to take my own to the car shows. I think for me, the way it all came together was when I was a kid. My mum used to sell vintage clothing, so we'd always been drawn to things from the 50s. The car thing was just me. Nobody else in my family really got that. They were really, not really into the old cars like I was. The camping, definitely from being a kid, we travelled a lot. We were basically gypsies when we grew up, travelling from country to country and around so many different places, and that's where the wanderlust, I think, first came from. I always say we must have gypsy blood in us, because it's something that you just can't fight it, Even when I was married and settled down and had kids of my own, there was still this feeling of wanting to go somewhere and wanting to travel and explore things. So for me, vintage trailering was the perfect combination. I could make myself a little home and make it just the way I wanted it, and still get to travel and see as much of the beautiful world as I could. My dad's American and my mum's Australian, and I was actually born in Australia, and we travelled everywhere from here, there, and all different countries in between. I actually got married in Australia, had my children in Australia, and I started my business in Australia. It was called Vintage Caravan Magazine, because in Australia we don't call them trailers, we call them caravans. And my sister has been living here in Oregon for about 20 years, and my move to Oregon was really just to be closer to her. The vintage trailer, actually, I bought before I even moved here. So it came first, and then the car, and then I moved here. I'd been looking for a Hudson for a while. I've been going to various car museums when I drove around the country, looking online. When I found this one, it was actually online in a classic car for sale site, and it was in Wisconsin. And at the time I was actually still in Australia. So I actually bought that car sight unseen from Wisconsin. My sister said I'm crazy, who does that? But I just felt it was the right thing to do. I talked to the guy on the phone and I asked him lots of questions about what had been done to it. And at that stage, it had basically been hot rodded then. This is Rosie, my trailer. And this is Doc Hudson, my 1953 Hudson Hornet. And it was named after the Disney movie Cars, the character Doc Hudson in that. Doc Hudson and I have done a lot of miles around America. We've done over 20,000 miles pulling a trailer. So obviously I had to do a lot of work to it to get it ready to do a big trip like that. If I had original Hudson parts, it would be a nightmare to fix every time I break down. And we do break down from time to time, but luckily parts are easy to get because under here I've got a 350 Chevy with an automatic transmission and disc brakes, and a full cooling system has been replaced so that it's reliable and keeps me going. It had lake pipes down the side, like, that looked horrible. I got rid of those and I put in a dual exhaust system with twin pipes. So that was what I wanted to do to it. It also sounds really cool. My mechanic actually said to me, like, what do you want it to sound like? It can go tack, 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 brum, 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 and he's making all these noises with his mouth. And I'm like, well, I get to choose this, He's like, yeah, you can choose how you want it to sound. I was like, oh, this is too cool. I said, okay, this is what I want. I want it to sound when I'm rolling into a car show, just cruising in, I want it to really rumble like a big dirty V8 should, But when I'm cruising down the highway with my tunes cranked up, I don't want to hear it at all. So he got me the exact right system and the exact right pipes and did it exactly right so that it does it perfectly, because I do like my music when I'm driving. I've got a great stereo system in there. It was just a few little things that I had to tweak, and that was obviously putting the disc brakes on it. When I got it and it rolled up here outside the house and rolled off the truck and just kept rolling down the hill, it was like it had no brakes at all. Several mechanics worked on it. Nobody could work out why the brakes wouldn't work, but because it's got a drop-down chassis, it was to do with the master cylinder and the slave cylinder not feeding into each other properly, and it was just, no matter how many times they tweaked with it, they just couldn't make them work. So there was nothing to do but put a disc brake conversion onto it. So that's definitely made a difference.
We'll continue our Vintage RV chat with Lisa Mora and learn more about Vintage Trailer Magazine right after these commercial messages. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Simply put, Thetford's Aquachem has outsold all its competitors combined because it's the strongest holding tank deodorant available. It provides the strongest odor control around the clock in all temperatures and conditions. It quickly liquefies waste and tissue and is 100% biodegradable. Aquachem, the industry standard for 50 years. For more information, visit Thetford.com. Aquachem, another great product from Thetford.
We didn't make the majestic mountains, or the rugged terrain, or paint the night sky, but we make it possible to see it all. Road Trek, America's #1 selling touring coach for over 25 years. Built with quality so you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the destinations you want. Enjoy the peace of mind that only a Road Trek can provide.
Welcome back to Rollin On TV. Let's continue our visit with Lisa Mora and learn more about vintage RVs, Vintage Trailer Magazine, and what it means to be part of that special niche of the RV arena.
I've driven that car so many places. I'm about 20,000 miles now. The first trip I did was from here in Oregon to Chicago, then Route 66 all the way back, then came back up the coast from there. Since then, I've been to Texas, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, and I'm just about to head off on another big trip down to Texas again and another few events on the way. So yeah, we drive pretty much non-stop all summer. Last summer I was only home for 2 weeks, was the longest time I actually was at home, because I was on the road full time, going from event to event to event pretty much all the time. So the car is really cool and I love it to bits, but what I really love is my trailer Rosie. She's a 1949 Crown, and I called her Rosie because there's a little badge here that says the Crown made expressly for Al Rose, the Trailer King from El Monte, California. I had to get a lot of work done on the trailer because it was in a pretty sorry state when I picked it up for $500 at the Salvation Army in Reno. So it's actually got new skin from front to back. That's been completely replaced, but I wanted to keep the original sides to give it that real 1940s look and make it still look old and vintage. The gas tanks have only been installed recently to go with my new Norcold fridge that we just installed. And the tongue is very, very short, which makes backing up really hard. And obviously that's been resprayed as well. But most of the outside is as original as it could be. So I'm really excited to show you the inside because that's where my styling really comes into effect. So let's go and have a look. I've had to do quite a bit of work in here because it was pretty much rotten when I got it. So all the walls have been replaced, and I chose the yellow because she's called Rosie. I used Rosie the Riveter as my inspiration for the colors and the ideas. So the blue denim on her coveralls is the blue denim on the upholstery. Obviously she's got a red and white bandana on her hair, so that's why I've got red and white polka dot curtains. And the yellow on the walls, even though it was originally all birch timber, and I know people love the original timber, I just wanted it to be bright and cheery and lighter, and it makes a small space seem a lot bigger, I think, if you've got a lighter colour on the walls. So I really love it. It makes me happy. There used to be a gas cooker here, and I just wanted more counter space, and I don't really use a gas cooker. I've just got a little electric hot plate up here that I can use whenever I want. I made the bed a little bit bigger. I've obviously replaced the old icebox just recently with my new Norcold refrigerator, which I'm absolutely thrilled with. Because as much as the icebox was cute, it was really impractical when I'm traveling around the road and in the deserts and things like that. There was originally a big heater on this side, and I've just made it into a wardrobe so I can hang all my clothes in there, and added these little shelves just to put some decorations and things. So welcome to my bedroom. As I said, I've made the bed a little bit bigger than the original bed was. It was just a narrow bed, and I like to sleep in a comfy big bed, so I've got a great Dr. RV mattress in here. The red and white polka dot theme continues to match the curtains. The old canisters set that I've gotten, little bits and pieces that I've added to it from my travels, and it just keeps becoming brighter and cheerier, and it definitely is my happy place. My magazine is Vintage Trailer Magazine. I've been publishing for 7 years now. You can get it in Barnes & Noble and bookstores all around America. We've got commercial distribution pretty much everywhere. If they don't have it, you can order it in. You can also get it on my website, which is vintagetrailermagazine.com. Inside it, I feature trailers that I've come across in my travels. When I'm traveling from event to event, I'll often see, hundreds and hundreds of trailers, but there's always one or two that just jump out at me and just go, wow. And then those are the ones that I'll go up and talk to the owner and say, hey, after this event is over, can we go somewhere and do a photo shoot? And I'll do an interview with them, and they're the ones I feature in the magazine. And I really like to find out about the people, who they are and why they got into vintage trailers and what they did to their trailer, and the restoration stories. Sometimes they'll send me photos of what it looked like before, or tell me these amazing stories about how they found it and what they did to it, and the history behind their trailer is always fascinating to me. So I take a lot of the photos myself. I write most of the articles myself. Most of the work, apart from a graphic designer, I do myself to put together and make it really beautiful and just showcase some of the most beautiful trailers I come across. One thing I would really like to do is encourage people who are interested in vintage trailers. I mean, they look cute, and that's a big part of their appeal, is that they're very aesthetically pleasing to everyone. And a lot of people say, oh, I wish I could do that. That looks like so much fun. I say, just do it. Just get out there and do it. Find yourself a trailer, whether it's one of the old ones and you've got a handyman around, or you've got someone or the money to do it up yourself, or whether it's one of the newer reproduction ones that look vintage, or a brand new RV. It doesn't matter. I encourage everyone to just get out there and get on the road. And as far as the rallies go, like a lot of people say, oh, I'd love to come to something like this, but my trailer isn't as good as these ones. We don't discriminate. Vintage trailer people are the friendliest people you'll ever meet, and it doesn't matter if it's half beaten up or if it's fully restored to a pristine standard. we'll welcome anyone in and you'll have a great time.
To learn more about vintage RVs and how to get involved in this fun and challenging part of the RV lifestyle, and to find out more about Lisa Mora and Vintage Trailer Magazine, log on to our website at rollinontv.com.
Someone once said, the camping doesn't really start until the RV awning comes out. Whoever said that really knew what they were talking about. Carefree of Colorado, celebrating 45 years of RV awning innovation. For more information, visit our website at carefreeofcolorado.com.
Exploration. It affirms that we are alive, demands that we are present. So let's put our work lives on pause, ramble out into the world, and share the journey with the ones we love.
For more information, visit lancecamper.com. Rollin On TV and Thetford, who makes those tough, top-of-the-line Titan sewer hoses, are giving away 5 of their premium sewer hose kits. We'll be giving away 1 kit each week for 5 weeks, starting the week of April 22nd. How do you enter? Easy. Visit our website at rollinontv.com and click on the Titan Premium Contest link. That's it. It's that simple. So, what are you waiting for? The next time you empty your holding tanks could be a whole lot easier and cleaner with your new Titan Premium Sewer Hose Kit.
This is a safety-related tech tip you might want to be aware of. Now, this particular trailer was just in the shop to have some new products installed. One of the items they were working on was the control panel for the Truma water heater right here on the wall. And that meant the technicians that were in here working were kind of leaned up like this and working on cutting the hole in the wall and so on. Well, right down below here is the stove. And while leaning up against the stove, they bumped into one of the knobs and turned the knob on to like the low setting, more or less. We were headed home and got the trailer all the way back home, and the thing was full of propane and it smelled of propane. So we had to open all the doors, locate the leak, which was right here. It's not a big deal, but if you have anything done to your product, to your trailer or RV, where it involves technicians working around the inside, people in tight quarters kind of bumping into things and whatnot, take a look at the stove, because those knobs are awfully easy to turn on and off. It's a way to avoid a propane leak and a possible fire and disaster. In our case, we opened up all the windows and doors, aired it out, it was fine. And finding the leak by way of the stove being on rather than a pipe fitting problem or something was a lot easier. So that is your Rollin On TV tech tip for the day.
At Jayco, we're a lot more than just an RV manufacturer. We're all about family, and we've been making family dreams come true since 1968. To see our complete product line and find your nearest Jayco dealer, visit us online at jayco.com or just log on to rollinontv.com. When you have a Truma AquaGo instant hot water system, you can expect to make a lot of new friends.
Hi, I'm Mark Polk with RV Education 101. Safely and properly towing a trailer is comprised of many factors. The tow vehicle and trailer need to be properly matched. You need all the correct hitch components, and you need a thorough understanding of topics like tires, weights, hitching and unhitching, and actually towing the trailer down the road. Today I want to look at 5 towing mistakes RV owners make to prevent them from happening to you. Number 1, and possibly the most important mistake, is not properly matching the tow vehicle and trailer. The first step is to determine exactly how much weight the tow vehicle can safely tow. This information can be found in the Vehicle Owner's Manual. If not, there are published towing guides from manufacturers available on the internet. When you use a towing guide, it's important that you know how your vehicle is configured and that you pay attention to any footnotes. After establishing the vehicle's tow capacity, you need to make sure the trailer you plan to purchase is compatible with the tow vehicle. This is where you can get into trouble. Lots of people look at the trailer's dry or unloaded vehicle weight and assume they can tow the trailer. The problem is, after you load all of your camping supplies and account for water, tongue weight, and any dealer-installed equipment like a battery, the tow vehicle is overloaded. The best scenario is to find a trailer with the gross vehicle weight rating that is equal to or less than the tow rating of your tow vehicle. There is typically a substantial difference between the dry weight and the gross vehicle weight rating. This way, even if you load the trailer to the maximum gross vehicle weight rating, the tow vehicle is still rated to tow the trailer. Next, and this is another weight issue, lots of folks don't consider any weight added to the tow vehicle itself. Let's say your tow vehicle is rated to tow 5,000 pounds. Now let's add 3 passengers for a combined weight of 400 pounds, 150 pounds of cargo in the vehicle, 100 pounds of aftermarket products added to the vehicle, and 350 pounds of tongue weight, for a total of 1,000 pounds. This reduces your 5,000 pound tow capacity to 4,000 pounds. Any weight you add to the tow vehicle reduces the towing capacity by that same amount. You can see how easy it is to get into trouble with weights. Number 3 on my list is trailer tires. Lots of people you talk to say tire blowouts on a trailer are caused by faulty tires, when the real causes are old weathered tires, overloaded tires, or underinflated tires. By old tires, I mean tires damaged by the elements, usually sun-related damage. Tires stored outdoors need to be covered, and owners need to inspect tires for any sidewall cracking or checking. Never tow a trailer with any of these tire conditions. Trailer tire weight ratings are based on the amount of air pressure in the tire. You should familiarize yourself with the tire load and inflation tables that tire manufacturers publish. After you are more familiar with these tables, you need to have the fully loaded trailer weighed to see if any overload conditions exist. For accurate tire information, you need to weigh each wheel position individually. This is hard to do unless you're at a rally or other organized event where this weighing service is being offered. The next best thing is to weigh each axle separately. This will tell you if you are within the axle weight rating, but you won't know how that weight is distributed from side to side. At a minimum, it will give you a better idea of the correct tire inflation based on axle weights. Number 4 is not using the proper hitch work. For starters, it's important you understand that every component in a towing system has a weight rating, and your towing system is based on the weakest link in the chain. What I mean is, if your vehicle is rated to tow 6,000 pounds, but the hitch ball you are using is rated for 5,000 pounds, the most you can tow is 5,000 pounds. If all of that checks out, next you want to make sure the trailer tongue weight is 10 to 15% of the loaded trailer weight for trailers weighing more than 2,000 pounds. Too much or too little tongue weight can have adverse effects on how the trailer tows. A weight distribution hitch uses additional hardware to distribute a percentage of the travel trailer's tongue weight to the axles on the tow vehicle and the axles on the trailer. Weight distributing hitches are used to tow heavier trailers and improve the tow vehicle's handling. If the trailer you are towing has brakes, you need an electronic brake controller installed to activate the brakes, and you should always have some type of sway control on the trailer you are towing that weighs in excess of 2,000 pounds. Number 5 on my list is not performing pre-trip checks prior to pulling the trailer. Lots of preventable towing-related incidents can be attributed to not making pre-trip checks. It's a simple matter of using a checklist to make sure nothing was forgotten or overlooked on the trailer or the tow vehicle prior to leaving on the trip. Well, there you go, 5 common mistakes and how you can avoid them from happening to you. For more information on using and maintaining your RV, take a minute to visit www.rvonlinetraining.com. Happy camping.
We hope you enjoyed this week's program, and for more information on anything you saw on the show, along with additional videos and stories from current and past shows, visit our website at rollinontv.com. You can also join us on Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest. As usual, this has been another fun production.